COVID-19 and the White House. Vice President Pence's chief of staff, Mark Short, testing positive over the weekend, along with 4 other aides. Pence will stay on the campaign trail for now and said over the weekend he still plans to oversee today's Senate confirmation of Judge Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court. Joining me right now is the assistant to the president and White House communications director, Alyssa Farah. Alyssa, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. I'm sorry to hear about your colleagues and COVID-19. How are you doing, and what's the mood at the White House now that we continue to see these cases erupting?
Well, thank you, Maria. I'm doing great. The team here is doing great. We send our best to Mark and others. Really, this White House has been prepared from the outset to deal with cases when they arise, isolate them, get folks who might have been, who need to be contact traced and been in association with them, isolated from the building. Like millions of American businesses that are grappling with COVID, the White House has had to do that as well. We're still moving full speed ahead. The president's on the trail. The vice president is also, as you said, presiding over this historic confirmation hearing today.
Yeah, tell me about that confirmation hearing. Are you expecting Amy Coney Barrett to be confirmed before the election?
Yes, we fully expect that Judge Coney Barrett will be confirmed. We're thrilled with this choice. She's, you know, an originalist, textualist, who we think is made in the likes of a Judge Scalia. She's someone who's going to serve on the court for decades to come, and I think is going to make the American public proud.
Alyssa, let me switch gears and ask you about, as you know, this cover-up going on in terms of Hunter Biden, in terms of the coup that failed to take down President Trump. Now we understand that the FBI was sitting on the Biden computer for a year. Even as President Trump was getting impeached earlier this year, the FBI had those emails indicating Hunter Biden doing all of this business. How is it possible that you've got people within the White House, the leadership of the CIA, the leadership of the FBI, that are stopping the dissemination of important information about this situation? I spoke with White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows on Sunday Morning Futures about this, about why the FBI hasn't shared information about the laptop and who should be held accountable. Take a listen to this. I'm going to get your reaction. Chief, I want to ask you about the cover-up here, because the FBI had this information for a year. Even as the president was getting impeached in January of this year, the FBI had these emails and the laptop from Hunter Biden. They sat on it. The media won't show it. Will Christopher Wray be fired after the election for insubordination, for not releasing this and to the public? And what about Gina Haspel? We're understanding that she's also blocking the dissemination of declassified documents. Will these two be fired after the election?
Well, obviously, I don't get into personnel decisions on national TV. We're evaluating all our personnel. I can tell you it is troubling when you're fighting against the swamp, and the swamp continues to fight back with a lack of transparency. That's very troubling. There will be accountability. This president is going to make sure that he holds his administration very accountable, so that they're transparent with the American people.
Alyssa, we're all waiting on accountability. We haven't seen it yet. How is it possible that you've got these insiders within the White House, within the intelligence agencies that are working against this president?
Well, it's very concerning. I mean, the fact that 4 years into President Trump's presidency, you still have institutions and folks within government actively working to undermine his presidency, and also, in some cases, it appears, cover up the misdeeds against President Trump that we could have cleared up much earlier on, not gone through the impeachment sham had we had some of this information. So I think you can trust Chief of Staff Meadows' point that we are going to hold these people accountable, but we absolutely need to require that all entities within our government have total transparency to the public, especially heading into an election season. These are facts that need to be made available. We need to declassify these elements and make them available to the public so they know exactly what they're voting for on Election Day, particularly with regard to Hunter Biden and his ties to China.
All right, real quick, Alyssa, what's most important on the president's agenda with 8 days before Election Day?
So President Trump is going to be hitting the campaign trail. He's going to be in more than a dozen cities this week alone, actually nearly 24 cities, and he's going to make his closing message, which he is the president that brought us the hottest economy in modern history, and he's going to do that again. When we're looking at recovering from the pandemic, this president is the best suited to get the American people back to work, to get us that record economy that we all were benefiting from just a year ago. So that's his closing message. He's eager to take it to the American people.
All right, Alyssa, good to see you this morning. Thank you so much. Alyssa Farah joining us this morning from the White House.